Hi there, welcome to Scratch program number 4, Polygons with Pens. When your program first opens, you'll have one sprite positioned in any corner that you want, and looks like nothing's happening. So when you push the flag, it still looks like nothing's happening, but actually your sprite is waiting for you to enter a letter and it will draw a shape. So if I enter the letter S, my sprite moves and draws a square. And if I enter the letter P, I get a pentagon. And the letter H, I get a hexagon. So you'll notice as each shape is drawn, the sprite moves to draw the shape and then moves back to the corner. But before it draws the shape, it has to clear the one that it did. So if I hit square again right now, S, the first thing that has to happen is the hexagon has to be cleared, and then the square can be drawn. Here's an example of another Scratch program with the same process but looks a little bit different. So if I enter a T, I get an equilateral triangle. So this one looks a little different than the other one. O is still octagon. P is pentagon. H is hexagon. And S is square. So these are the shapes that you'll be drawing with your sprite. So we're going to begin with one sprite on the stage and one backdrop script. So when you script your backdrop, we're going to have our usual when the flag is clicked, and then we're going to broadcast and wait. And it's going to be our initialize that we've been doing in all of our Scratch programs so far. And that's it for the backdrop. That's all you have to do. Then we can begin the programming for the sprite with each letter. But first we need to begin initialize or receive initialize with our sprite. So when I receive initialize, let's put our sprite where it needs to be. So we're going to go to XY and put it in the corner. And then we need to set this rotation style all around so that it can do the different shapes that we're doing. So this is down here. We're going to choose all around. We don't want it to be the left-right bouncy thing. And then I'll always want to point my sprite in the direction because we don't know how our sprite's going to end up. So we're going to point in direction 90 to keep it facing this way. And then we have some new actions we can do with the pen that we haven't seen before. So at this point, we want our pen up, and we're going to clear the screen. This would clear off any other drawing that's on there, and then wait a second before we go on. Then the next thing we're going to do is get a keystroke. So we'll start with triangle. So we want the user, or whoever's running the program, to hit the letter T. And the letter T, to wait for the key pressed, is under events. So when the key is pressed, and we're going to choose letter T for triangle. When the T is pressed, so this will wait and this will do something. So the first thing we need to do again is clear anything that was on the screen before when the user hits the letter T. Then our sprite can glide to where it wants to begin. So you can begin all your shapes at a certain point, or you can begin them at separate places. I'm going to begin the triangle here. So I'm going to glide there with the glide to get my sprite positioned. Then you can begin to draw. So the pen goes down. You can change the pen color if you want, or leave it what it's supposed to be, or whatever it is. And then if you think about it, how many sides is your triangle going to have? So whatever we do, we have to do it 3 times. You have to draw a line and turn and let that be the only thing in your loop. I don't want 3 lines or 3 more glides or using a certain point. We have to make this same process work for all of our shapes. And the only thing that would be different might be the length of the line or the angle that you're turning. So if you move 10 steps with our sprite, it would look like this. I hit the letter T, glide, and then move. So she hardly appears to move at all, where if I change this to 100 steps and restart her and hit the letter T, you can see she actually is moving. So let's make our line, our triangle, a little longer, 150. And play her again, letter T, and there we go. And so we need to stop and start, and the letter T. So there's different things you can do with your pen. You can change the color, you can change the pen size, and different things to play around with it. But then before we go to the next side of the triangle, since this is an equilateral triangle, she's going to have to come down here to some point. And so you have to think about how many degrees does she need to turn. Well, we know that the interior angles of a triangle are all a certain size. So what would that be? It'd be 60, because 180 divided by 3 is 60. But she's turning on the outside. So how many degrees would that be to turn her all the way around and go the other way? So it's 180 minus 60. So we want her to turn 120 degrees. So we're going to drag this one out. And let's go ahead and just do another move 150, even though this isn't how we're going to end it up. But try it out. So there she goes. And so we should just be able to move another 150 or turn and then move and then be finished. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. Let's see, we need to turn her again, another 120, and move another 150. And try it out. Beautiful. When she's finished, we need to take the pen up and we need to move her back to where we started, which was negative 174, 105, and rotate her 90. So let's send her back where she started. Whoops. Negative 174 and 105. And point in direction 90. So when we run our entire program again with the T, she drew a line to where she started. I lost my pen up somewhere. So pen up. And then put this back. And one more time, triangle, beautiful, beautiful triangle. Now one final piece of this, I want this section to come out and figure out, since this is the same thing repeated 3 times, we can put in a loop 3 times, or a repeat. So we're going to repeat this 3 times and only do this move and turn inside the loop and then put this up. Let's see if we have the same thing. And yes, we do. Very nice. So we don't need any of this at all. It can go away. So your job on this assignment called Polygons with Pen is to create the driver, which you have noticed we already did with you. Your sprite should make a T triangle, an S square, a P pentagon, an H hexagon, an O octagon, and for a bonus you can do a 5-sided star when I hit F. You need to use moves and turns and no glides. So follow the pattern that I gave you in this example to finish these out. You need to be sure to position your sprite and clear the stage before each drawing and ensure that your sprite does not go off the stage. We don't want that to happen. This has a part 4 in this document, but we're not going to do that today. So your job is to do parts 1, 2, and 3, And we're not going to turn it in yet, but we'll continue working on part 4 next time. One more word about the glide is that you can glide to begin your shape like I did, but within the repeat of the shape, then you won't have any glides. They don't work inside the repeat. Don't do that.